there you go, Noctigal here with another gas station vlog. I know, very specific. Anyway, so I just started on my shift a little while ago and hasn't been too busy, although it's been definitely busier than it has been on average during the coronavirus pandemic and all that. Although I think they technically call it like SARS coronavirus something now, like things have changed, right? But anyway, I digress. The purpose of this was to talk about a couple that just came in from Washington, and because they're from Washington, I made sure to let them know, that right now they can pump it themselves, or I can pump it for them, whichever way works, right? And so he wanted to do that, run-of-the-mill stuff, just showed him how to do that, showed him how to run his card, and how to make sure to run it as a credit instead of a debit and all that. I just had him go through all of the steps, essentially, that he was supposed to go through correctly, to make sure that he actually was going to get his gas, right? And anyway, once he finally has everything run correctly, essentially, he's ran as credit, he said hit enter for the fill and all that. I made sure to reiterate that I can pump it if he doesn't want to. So I was like, and just again, so I can pump it for you, or you can pump it yourself if you'd like. Either way works. That's usually like something along that lines. That's the spiel I usually give. And so that's what I told him, and he's like, I can pump it. He's like, I'll just let you get the windshield. And that was when things got a little, and the reason they got odd or awkward, I guess, is because I think I may have touched on this a bit. I mean, I know that my clips kind of get jumbled up when I'm editing these things. And so sometimes I'm not exactly certain on what I've talked about before, but I think I may have talked about the fact that I have some like shoulder and wrist issues periodically. They're somewhat chronic, like they kind of come and go. I think that you maybe see me wear a brace on either one of my wrists before in some of these vlogs. I don't have the brace today, and so that's why it felt especially odd, because in the past I've had to tell people, like when I essentially am having really bad pain in my wrists or in my shoulders, I have to tell people that I can't wash their windshield, right? And I usually try to explain that it's kind of a health thing, a medical thing, like it hurts me essentially really badly to wipe the windshield for you, and I don't get anything out of it. It's not even technically in my job description, so unless you're going to tip me, I especially don't see any reason to wash your windshield. So anyway, it got awkward because this guy really wanted me to wash his windshield. He's like, oh yeah, I'll let you grab the windshield though. And so then in that moment, I had to make a decision about whether or not to say that it was because of my wrist and my shoulder that I wasn't going to do this for him, or if I was just going to say that I wasn't going to do it, because I almost got kind of nervous that he wasn't going to like believe me because I didn't have the hand brace on. Like, I didn't have the brace on, so I would be a little nervous that some people would think that I'm bullshitting, because some people in the past, even when I do have the brace on, seem very weirded out that I'm not going to wash their windshield for them. They're like, oh, okay, and they'll like laugh about it sometimes, and I've definitely had almost like little spats with people about it before. It's like, look, if I have an issue and I have pain, I'm not going to do it. It literally isn't in my job description. If you want to wash your own windshield, you're more than welcome to, In fact, I have a lot of people that come in, and when I'm pumping their gas or about to pump their gas, they even are just like, hey, can I wash my own windshield? And I may have talked about this before, but it really weirds me out, because I don't know why the people ask if they can wash their own windshield. Like, yeah, it's your property. Like, I guess the squeegee is the property of my work, but like, I don't know, it's not designated for me, It's not like, oh, only gas attendants get to use the squeegees. Like, that's how it goes, right? No, like, you can get out of your car and wash your windshield if you would like. I'm not going to make you, obviously, first of all, let's make that clear. But obviously, if you want to wash your own windshield, you don't have to ask me. Like, it's always a little odd. Like, a woman just came in right before them and asked me, essentially, if they could do that, if they could wash their own windshield. And I was like, yeah, of course, I'm not going to stop you from doing that. And so that was really odd to me. But anyway, long story short, well, as short as it can be, I guess, after this point, is that I told him that I just wasn't washing windshields right now. And that was true, because like today, I'm not going to wash windshields. Like other days when I feel fine, I will wash windshields because it just kind of makes me a little sore or whatever, because I'm pretty sure I actually have fibromyalgia. I actually need to go to the doctor to find that out if it's true, which the sucky thing about fibromyalgia is, though, the only way that they can determine whether or not you have fibromyalgia is essentially by ruling out everything else. So I'm going to probably have to get a lot of blood work done and do some tests. But at the same time, it might be worth it to find out what problem I have that causes me so much bodily pain, especially since that bodily pain disappears when I exercise. Like if I weight train or if I box or I go for a run or whatever, I feel great. If I felt sore in my chest or my arms or my back or my legs or whatever it was, if I go work that muscle group, I feel great. So possible that it's fibromyalgia, but that's kind of a side note. That's kind of like part of the reason that is influencing why I am not washing down windshields that often, because sometimes I'm having essentially what may be fibromyalgia flare-ups. And so I may essentially be having a flare-up of just fake pain, and essentially feels like burning muscle soreness. And so I get that kind of in my wrist sometimes, and I get that in my back sometimes, my shoulders, and I just get it in a lot of places. Like my chest gets it really, really bad sometimes, especially like at pretty much everywhere on my right side in particular, which is what I'm scrubbing with when I'm using the squeegee. That in particular, my right side is compromised practically when I have this pain. So he was really weirded out because he was like, "What?" And so I just repeated it. And I was like, I'm sorry, I'm not watching windshields right now." And he was like, "Oh, okay." And he was definitely really weirded out, but I really was just nervous about what his reaction would be if I said that I had a shoulder injury. I mean, maybe he'd just be like, "Oh, okay," but some people are weird about that. Like I said earlier, like some people are weird and they'll almost fight me on it, and they'll be like, "Are you sure? Like, I bet you could do that still." Or like, especially if I don't have the brace on, like if I had a shoulder brace or a wrist brace or something on, definitely people are a bit more lenient. They may not even be as likely to ask me in the first place to wash their windshield. Which I don't mind. I mean, I can still tell people, like, sometimes I'll just, show them the wrist brace if I have it on, and be like, "Sorry, I can't really do that right now." Because they don't need to know what issue I have, but it's just one of those things, though, where it's like, for this guy, I'm not lying. I'm not doing it right now. It's just that I don't need to divulge to him why I'm not doing it, and I'm sure that was odd to him, but at the same time, to me, I don't know, saved me possible embarrassment or even more awkwardness, perhaps, if he wanted me to explain to him what my issues were, like exactly what problems I'm experiencing in my arms or shoulder or whatever. And I don't need to explain that to that guy. Like I don't know who he is. Like, it doesn't matter to me. He's some guy from Washington. I'll probably never see him again. So I don't know. But yeah, long story short. Well, again, as short as it can be after all this ranting. You are allowed to wash your own windshields, first of all. But if I have a brace on, or if I tell you that I'm hurting, or if anyone who's a gas attendant does that, don't be a dick about it. Not saying this guy was a dick. He was fairly nice, but I've had some dicks. They're out there. So watch it. All right, this one's a quickie but a goodie. An older gentleman, well, two of them actually, just came into the store, and they were walking around looking at things, like they kept seeming like they were surprised to see certain things, and they were like, "Whoa," like, "Oh, that looks good," like they looked like they were having a good time, right? Like shopping around. Anyway, though, so what? Then one of them just goes towards the back real quick, where we have our soda machine, and it's entirely touchscreen. So you flip through it, and you have to select and then hold on the touchscreen to dispense whatever drink you're getting, right? And so this guy just walks over there, like both of them, and then they just look at it, and they put their hands on their hips, and they're like looking around, and one of them's like, "God damn, I've never seen a soda machine like this before. You ever seen one like this before? Jeez, wow, this is awesome." Like, and they just kept going on and on about it. It's just like, I know that it's like, maybe they're from out of state, I don't know, like just like from Alabama, I don't know. I thought Alabama would probably have that shit by now. I mean, do you think a lot of places would have touch screens on certain things? Like, yeah, not everywhere I go has a touch screen, but like, you've never seen a soda machine that has touch screen before? Like, never? Not at any other gas stations anywhere? I don't know. I guess not. Like, you really don't get out that much. I mean, he was a quite an older gentleman, like probably definitely in his 70s. So maybe that's just part of it. Maybe he just doesn't get out that much, or he doesn't pay much attention. I don't know. But I just thought it was kind of funny. They just were so like impressed and amazed by this technological innovation that is a touch screen.